This is Venture Capital Radio with Shannon Pearson on AM 650.
Thanks for joining us on Venture Capital Radio. My name is Shannon, and you've tuned in to hear a couple themes throughout this show, and one of the themes is about change. And joining me in the studio today is Connie Linder, CEO and founder of GreenPagesDirectory.net, but you're also one of the co-founders of Polymer Research Technologies.
Yes,
And
luckily for me.
Well, as I've learned, because we just spoke to your colleague, Campus Taheri, am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so he's a CEO and founder of Polymer.
Yes.
And, you know, you guys got together and collaborated. What an exciting business.
Yes, it's very exciting, and he's the reason why we won the New Ventures Award, and we're also the finalists in the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters Award as well. So he's a very humble, brilliant scientist.
He's very humble.
Yeah.
I was very taken aback by that. But, you know, humble yet brilliant, because he's created this technology, if you don't mind me going into it a little bit. But, you know, just on the heels of that interview, I'm still a little bit, you know, taking it all in, because recycling polyurethane, one of the most contributing things to all markets, really, as he said so eloquently, the only thing you can't do is eat it.
Yeah.
So a toxic product that you can't eat, thank goodness, that he has found a way, the technology, to recycle it into a useful form.
Yeah, 5 to 10% of landfill waste is polyurethane because it doesn't break down. So when they incinerate it, it's very toxic, and then if it just sits in the landfill, it doesn't break down, causes a huge problem. So what we do is we recycle it chemically with additives and a proprietary process, and transform it back into the fundamental building block of polyurethane, which is a polyol. And polyol is an oil derivative. So right now, polyurethanes are produced by virgin polyol from the petrochemical industry. So what we're able to do is take the waste product
Right.
and convert it in a process that turns it back into a commodity. And manufacturers can reuse it, call themselves green, and save millions of dollars in the process. So it's a really great opportunity.
Very exciting project to be involved in.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah, I was lucky.
Well,
And lucky.
lucky, and also, you know, it's a good fit, because you're very focused on social and environmental responsibility
Yeah.
for consumers, but also in the corporate world.
Yes.
So let's kind of take this conversation and kind of bring it back to that topic, because you have GreenPagesDirectory.net, which is a directory that somewhat is I guess, supposed to marry, or gives you the ability to marry consumers interested in that responsibility level and businesses that are interested in providing that responsibility level in their product and services.
Yeah, so, I mean, someone's got to get married. It's a platform that helps bring the different pieces together.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a cross between Yellow Pages and Google, and yet our information is for progressive companies. So it's finding innovative ways to do things better, so that we have less waste, we have higher efficiencies, we're treating people better. That's the essence of what Green Pages Directory is about.
Okay, so this social and environmental responsibility, as I keep referring to, you know, you've been interested in this long before it was cool to be interested in this.
Yeah.
And it was part of your motivation to take steps that you took years ago to really go in this direction. And, you know, you've made mention in previous interviews that you were called naive, and, you know, that's really nice, but that's not how business is done. What do you see as being some of the biggest changes in the trend of these companies over the last 10 years to want to step up and be a part of this directory?
What's happened in companies is they're realizing, well, there's a few things happening, and they're all increasing in strength. Consumers' awareness is increasing, and the world is truly seeming to become smaller, because we have technologies that, you know, through the internet and through cheap long distance.
Yeah.
You know, people have immediate access to information. So before, if I bought that pair of socks and I was really excited about saving $2, I didn't think about the fact that they might have been made in a country where it was actually child labor used for the production. And so I think that disconnect for consumers is starting to narrow. They're starting to understand the repercussions of our choices and how it affects the resources of the world, including people.
Well, and that's a whole topic of conversation that could go on for many weeks.
Hmm.
But, being responsible and being informed, I guess, is one of the first steps that a person can take. So on the flip side of that, though, the companies becoming aware of this, what are they starting to do?
Well, companies want to keep their brand on top of consumers' mind, and they're realizing that consumers are starting to ask questions. And they're also the shareholders too. The consumers, if a company is a publicly trading company,
Absolutely.
they're also buying the shares. So I think companies are getting smarter at realizing that they can enhance their brand and employee satisfaction and financial performance by integrating sustainability and social and environmental outcomes into their corporate identity. So companies that do that are usually best in class, and it touches the internal parts of their organization. So for instance, if a company identifies themselves in their core mission of taking this commitment, because it is a commitment, the different areas that it can be brought into the organization on the inside is it'll start with their procurement chain.
Okay.
So they'll start to pay attention to the different parts that produce their widget or their services, and they'll start to see how those are made. And they'll start to ask questions to their suppliers to make sure that they're taking care of their people, that they might use higher levels of recycled content and whatnot. So that it starts with the supply chain, and then it will also move into purchasing, supply chain, the people, operations. So if you employ, if you're motivated for being more sustainable, it's also motivating you to be on the leading edge, because you're going to start to pay attention to what new technologies are out there.
Okay.
And that's why we have so much global interest with polymer, because these companies globally want to be first movers in their industries, and they're realizing there's this new technology. We're able to actually be what's considered to be cradle to cradle. Years ago, cradle to grave was seen to be progressive, which meant that I'm making sure that we can properly dispose of our product. We can build our product, and we can properly dispose of our product. But what's happening now is it's not enough to dispose of your product. It's how can we dispose of the product in a way that it might potentially be a building block back into the process. So there's this new driving force for
Okay.
cradle to cradle.
So you make mention of the word sustainable. Is that description that you just gave of, disposing a product and finding a way to take that, what would be disposed of and forgotten about, to recycle it into a reusable form? Is that what you mean by sustainable?
Well, there's different ways that we could define it, but I would say anything with a good intention is starting off with a higher ability to be sustainable in the long
Okay.
term. And there's also the sustainability is also about how you treat your people as well, because if you might have a really great technology, but if you're not treating your people well, your business might not be sustainable, because people won't stay with you. The companies that are very, very committed to high standards, high ethical standards, they have really, really good retention rates of their people. And they're able-
Interesting.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, who wants to work for? I was going to say, who wants to work for a jerk? You want to buy products from companies that you like,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's something I've said on this show. People do business with people that they like.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean that you can't say no, and it doesn't mean that you're going to always say something that somebody wants to hear. But if you, as you say, if your intentions are understood and they're good and it looks after people, then that's where most people want to do business or work, as you point out.
Yeah, and sometimes good people make mistakes, and there are good companies that make mistakes. There are companies that might not have realized that part of the supply chain was actually being done in a factory that wasn't treating its people well at all, and they've actually had to go, and those companies in those situations can actually take that and rectify it, and they
Yeah.
can still have a good brand, but they have to pay, when you talked about the changes that are happening, people are being called on that more now. And
Absolutely.
and Green Pages, and the role that we're playing is to be able to let people have a voice and let the companies respond back and have that conversation, because that conversation is happening whether you like it or not. So I would rather, as a company, have some control over seeing the information. And on Green Pages directory, the people that want to join the directory can actually, or the community part of the directory can actually rate the products and services. And the companies in turn, I didn't think it was fair for them to be sitting ducks and not have a say. So the companies in turn can have an official response that would show their
To that.
logo in the conversation.
Excellent. So, I want to bring this back down to an investor level now. So for people that want to take the interest of sustainability and a level of responsibility into their portfolio, what do they need to pay attention to with these companies?
Well, the individual needs of the investors are going to be different, so there'll be different
Right.
kinds of investment considerations, as you know. We're both former brokers.
Yeah.
So it's the know your client rule.
Yeah.
So if you're older, if you're someone who's 50 or 60, you're not going to be able to take as much risk. And sometimes these new technologies offer great rewards, but they have more risks. So
They certainly do.
yes. So an ethical mutual fund
Okay.
might be the appropriate investment for someone that doesn't have a long time horizon. And for someone that does have part of their portfolio available for higher risk, look for opportunities like this. The polymer offer is an it's very timely, especially for the local market, because often investors don't get the opportunity to participate at this stage,
Right.
where it's still higher risk because it's a newer company and it's a new technology, but a lot of those risks have been taken off the table because we have industry validation and we've got all these other things. So you're able to enjoy the high
Right.
earning potential on the share price because of the stage that we're at.
Yeah.
But also we're leading into that commercialization, where at that point then it changes into a more mature company.
Well, it changes the game for investors.
It
for sure.
does. And I really want to talk about something that people that speak to me regularly hear me say a lot, and it's about alignment. So if I'm looking at a company and if I want to know if it's a good investment or not, because I think the companies that are more socially and environmentally aware are better investments, because they have less business risk, and
Right.
they have high employee satisfaction. They're better to deal with, better customer service and whatnot. I want to see, do they have someone at the executive level that has the power to be involved in the discussion of the strategic direction of the company? So it might be a corporate sustainability manager.
Okay.
It could be a CEO that's expressed that they're really committed to these issues, because if you don't have that commitment, it's very, very hard to be part of a management group and not have any clout, and you're going to get outvoted. So that's very important. And also you need to see how the executives are being compensated. For instance, I think a big problem that we've had over the last 20 years is you always have to make sure that the incentives are in alignment with the best interests of what the effects you want to see, and also the best interests of the individual. So if I have corporate incentive packages that are based on short-term financial results, there's no personal incentive for that executive to make some of the decisions that might take a little longer on the front end, but they're going to have higher payoffs after 3 years. So
Right.
you want to see the way people are compensated. Are they compensated so that financial performance is one indicator, but it's also employee satisfaction, stakeholder satisfaction, and environmental outcome?
Yep.
I would look for that, because I think that's what really needs to start happening more.
And I couldn't agree more. And I think that's a conversation that I want to maintain on the show moving forward. Because as you've indicated by the companies that you're involved in, greenpagesdirectory.net, as well as Polymer Research Technologies, that these are topics that are coming to the forefront. And as far as investors go, I think it's an easy thing to get involved in. You just need to get educated and know the platforms to look at. So it's always a pleasure to have you in and talk about these things, because it needs a voice, and you're a wonderful voice for it.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity. And are we done, or do I have one more? Do I have time for one more comment?
Quick one.
Okay, quick one. I'll give you an example. So people have a voice in the companies they support.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't name the name of the mutual fund company, but when we had the big financial meltdown and these executives were being compensated ridiculously,
Yes.
even when they had bailout packages, well, then the consumers of those mutual funds should not go back and buy products from those companies. We need to vote with our pocketbook.
That's a
We
good
have
point.
more power than what we think. And I just want to leave
That's a good note to leave on, because that's a great point. We have more power with our pocketbook than we give credit for. So on that, we're going to continue that sustainability conversation. But until we do, make sure you check out greenpagesdirectory.net, and of course our other guest on the topic of social and environmental responsibility, Polymer Research Technologies, which is polyresearchtech.com. Thank you for joining us, Connie.
Thank you.
This is Venture Capital Radio on AM 650.